'Tis the season for pumpkin rice. The leaves are crispy. The ghouls are about. There's a chill in the air. This is actually a riff on an Armenian dish called Ghapama or Ghapama. Probably mispronounced that like both times there, but you get the idea. The original dish is chocked full of dried fruit and all these other interesting ingredients. We're gonna take things a slightly different way and fill this bad boy with some meaty, unctuous, juicy short rib rice. This is the perfect centerpiece for your autumnal fall gathering for a Halloween party. It's a showstopper, it looks cool, it's festive as the Dickens, obviously, so let's make it. The piece de resistance of this terrifying treat are these short ribs. This is about 4.5 pounds of beef short rib, a few sprigs of thyme, bay leaf, garlic, and a tablespoon of butter. I've gone ahead and bagged these up to cook in the sous vide for 24 hours at 167 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I understand this might be an annoying step for some, but cooking the short ribs at this temperature for 24 hours gives the best texture and flavor for the dish. You can do this up to 3 days in advance, too. If you'd rather not sous vide, braise these in a flavorful seasoned liquid for 3 to 4 hours at 300 degrees Fahrenheit until tender. 24 hours later, and the shorties are donezo. Remove them from the water bath and set them aside to cool slightly while we work on the flavor base for the rice. That base consists of 1 stick and a quarter of unsalted butter, which we're going to melt down over medium heat before adding 5 large, thinly sliced shallots. Season with a pinch of salt, then sweat the shallots down until softened. Add 6 minced garlic cloves and a cup of white raisins. I know, we all have that one aunt who thinks it's okay to put a basket of dried fruit in food that has no business being there, and tuna salad, I'm looking at you, but in this case, these raisins balance things out, trust me. In goes 2 tablespoons of fresh thyme and a 1/3 cup of curry powder. Give that a stir, season up with a pinch of salt and a few cracks of BP, then remove the mixture from the heat to cool slightly. While we're at the stove, we're gonna make a quick honey butter to coat the innards of our pumpkin before we load it up with the rice. In a small saucepan, add the remaining butter. It should be about 6 tablespoons, followed by some honey and a pinch of salt. Heat that through just until the butter melts, then set it aside at the ready. This is a ton of cooked basmati rice. Stick with a long grain rice here. Think Carolina Gold, jasmine is another good choice, but I prefer basmati. Dump in the cooled shallot mixture and shred the short ribs by hand. Mix everything together until well blended, then taste for seasoning and add more salt if needed. It goes without saying that pumpkins come in all shapes and sizes. The one that we're cooking today is large, so in turn, it calls for a large amount of rice. If you're using a smaller pumpkin, you'll need less rice. Here's the reality. If you want to do this right, you're better off making more rice than you think you're gonna need than less. Nobody likes a halfway full pumpkin. Everybody likes a full pumpkin with extra rice. Drizzle all that honey butter that we just made right into the hollowed out pumpkin, making sure to coat the entire inside. Just kind of use your hands to rub it around in there. Next, begin filling the pumpkin with the rice. About halfway through, add in the 2 bay leaves, then fill the pumpkin up with the remaining rice all the way to the top, then close her up. Grab your 2 largest sheet trays, then stack them on top of one another before covering with heavy-duty aluminum foil. Drizzle the entire pumpkin with neutral cooking oil, and you want this thing looking like a juiced, completely greased up fitness model before it hits the heat dungeon, so don't be shy. And if it looks like a plastic ornament that you might see at like a Bed Bath & Beyond, you're doing great. Oh, and pro tip, it's a good look to make sure that the pumpkin fits in your oven before you stuff it, so yeah. Arrange the oven racks so that your pumpkin fits, then bake at 375 Fahrenheit for 1.5 to 2 hours, or until a fork easily punctures the outside of the pumpkin with little to no resistance. Now, this can take longer or shorter depending on the size of your pumpkin. The larger the jack-o'-lantern, the more time it's gonna need to cook. Ooh! Yeah, baby! Once finished, remove it from the oven and let cool for 15 minutes. If it starts to slump a little bit, it's alright, that's completely normal, don't sweat. Now is the time to let your inner Basquiat shine. Carve your pumpkin however you see fit. I'm going with a classic, crooked jack-o'-lantern face. Oh, and this is a cool tip. If you aren't the best drawer, like myself, use a toothpick to outline where you're going to slice. It'll make things easier to carve. Time to splay. To serve this thing, do as Michael Myers does and make long cuts vertically down the pumpkin, stopping when you reach about 2 to 3 inches from the table. Splay open the pumpkin so it lies flat and looks kind of like a lotus flower. This is optional, but I like to get creative with the toppings. Here I have some fried shallots for crunch, chili oil for a kick, yogurt for a cooling element, and I just roasted off some of the seeds from the pumpkin earlier, so those go on too. I finished things off with some pretty green things in the form of chives, chervil, and parsley, just for some color. And boom! Now that is a festive centerpiece if I don't say so myself. Bro, it's a spider, dude! That's so sick. Alright, let's see what this spider meat tastes like. A little bit of everything on there. Maybe a little chili Earl and Gert. Stunning, spooky, salty, but not too salty. Now, some people might look at this and call it stunt food, but I say it's party food. There's really no need for plates for this. Just give your friends a spoon, give your friends a fork, stand around the table with some adult apple juices in hand, and go to town. Spooky, delicious. I hope you guys dug this one. If you're planning on making it for your friends, let us know in the comments below. If you dug the video, hit it with a like. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Happy Halloween, happy Candy Day, and I will see you very shortly.